Hey guys, Steve Moran here, and I'm so excited about today. This is the launch of Tech Tuesday with Abbie, and Abbie's actually going to be the host. I'm not saying you'll never see me here again, but basically, this is going to be Abbie's show. And so, Abbie, I'm so excited about it. I do want to actually start with one thing.
Okay.
If I start to break into tears, it's not because I'm unhappy to be here with Abbie like this. I'm sorry, but my dad passed away last night, and part of the way I honor him is by carrying on with life. He led a good life. He was 93 years old, and so I'm mourning. I'm mourning the loss, as you can tell. I'm celebrating a life that was well lived, and I'm really just wallowing in the good memories of all the many things that we did. So, welcome to Tech Tuesday, and so are we gonna run the intro, Abbie?
Let's do it.
Good. You've got to do it. You've got to do it. I can't do it. You've got all the controls. I'm your guest.
Tell me, where is
the intro? Go to branding. And well, you know what? Well, I don't want to. We'll walk through this later. We're just going to skip that today. This is the first one. It's keeping it live and keeping it real. I'm actually participating, thanks to Abbie, in a boot camp for on how to be on TV that Abbie recommended. And yesterday was the first day, and they were broadcasting on a Facebook like we are, and they actually got their hands slapped and killed the Facebook killed their broadcast because they were using music they didn't have the license to. And so these guys, I mean, they make their living at this stuff, so it's sometimes it's just really hard. So
I think I can run that intro now.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Hey guys, Steve Moran here.
All right.
So tell me, Abbie, what are we going to talk about? What are you going to talk about on Tech Tuesday?
So first of all, thank you for having me here. I am honored, and it is just amazingly wonderful and humbling at the same time to be doing this. And Tech Tuesday is truly the place where we're going to be talking about what's new in tech innovation in the senior living place. And this is a topic that seems to have just come up over and over again over the past couple of years as more and more providers are focusing on how they can institute technology and use it well, not just bring it on, but bring it on and teach people how to use it, whether it's your staff or your residents.
So I look at technology, and we've got we've been talking obviously behind scenes about who some of the guests are going to be, and there's such amazing stuff. We actually have a call later this week with a robot company and you think you've seen robots and you haven't seen that. And I think that I don't think that technology obviously solves every problem. And I have a philosophy about technology that technology should be used to make it possible for humans to do the human stuff, and the technology should do the stuff that humans act. There's some things that technology can do better, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really my my goal is, but I do know that when I talk to owners and operators, that figuring out the technology is such a hard thing, figuring out the right technologies that really work. So when you look at technology, Abbie, where do you think the big wins are?
The big wins are in communication. So if technology can provide a bridge between what's happening with the resident, maybe the resident is alone, to the staff or to the family, that's where the big wins are. So it's going to provide a bridge. It's going to provide an inside look into how your senior is living, what kind of help do they need? What kind of communication points do they need help with? And so that's where I really see technology supporting that communication, as well as, just like you said, systemizing certain things that can be done better.
So one of the things that I'm really interested in is that, and I actually was on another webinar last week, I guess, where we were talking a bit about technology. And there's a lot of technology that's been built specifically for seniors, with the idea that seniors aren't smart enough, good enough to be able to use the stuff that the rest of us use. Can you talk to me about that?
Holy smokes, that is such an old stigma. That is an old statistic, because as we have all seen in the past almost 2 years, that may have been relevant 2 years ago, but not today, because the pandemic has forced older adults to get into their technology so they can connect and thrive in today's world. So I don't think at all that an older adult is unable to use technology. They just want to use it differently than the way a younger person is using it.
So if I'm working, that's a great segue. So I'm a senior living operator. How do I, and I know you do this as a business, but how do I, as a senior living operator, help my residents maximize their technology use? What are the things that you actually work on and that you do?
I think it all comes down to education. It's got to be an education piece, not just an adoption, and adoption comes with and after education. So I see this happening all the time, that there are residents who have an Alexa in their apartment that's been standardized through the community, but they can't add skills to it, or they don't know what skills they would want to add. And so there's that disconnect. And I really find that it has to be in the education. So whether you're installing a new resident platform or a new robot, if you can give an older adult a more formalized introduction to the device, to the technology, something that's written with a handout that they can refer to later on, and they can refer to regularly, they're going to be more comfortable, and they're going to lean into the technology instead of resisting it.
So I think that you need to give me a lesson on Alexa skills. I have one in my TV room, and I never use it, except maybe at Christmas time. I'll somehow it'll hit my mind, and I'll ask it to play me Christmas music. And so I know I'm going to sort of take you a little bit on a tangent. I think you ought to do a whole show on this. But how could I be using maybe I should ask you this: how do you use Alexa in your house?
Okay, so I have children, all right, and I usually am using Alexa when my kiddos are not home, because then they all start screaming at Alexa, and I don't like that in my house. So, but when they're not home, I can ask Alexa, what's the weather outside? Start small. And this is the same thing that I would encourage anyone to do. Start small with small things. What's the weather? What was the score last night? Who's going to the Super Bowl? Alexa loves to give you sports statistics and sport facts. And so just start with small basics and then begin to build up. It's like a relationship, all right, with a new assistant. You're not just going to do a whole brain dump on them. You're going to start small. You're going to make sure they understand that when you say the word Danica, it's really Danica and not Danelle or Jessica or something. It's Danica. So you're going to start small. You're going to build up from there. And it's just like a new BFF. The more you communicate to it, the more time you spend with it, the more you ask of it, it gains familiarity for your needs.
So I got to tell you, it sounds a little creepy to me. So, I mean, I don't know. It sort of sounds like futuristic, where we don't need humans anymore because I can just interact with the machine.
Well, that sounds more like the robot we're going to look at later
I
on this
see.
week. But
Yeah.
Alexa cannot fold your laundry for you, but she can tell you when the laundry is going to be done. So you can ask Alexa, Alexa, what time will set a timer for 30 minutes? And then after 30 minutes, you'll hear a timer. This is going to save your mind by setting up alarms and reminders. And it's all hands-free too, which is usually a more cumbersome process when you have to put down what you're doing, pick up your phone, set a timer. You can ask Alexa to do it for you.
Well, and I think that the one sort of, I don't know that dumb down is not quite the right word, but the one piece of adaptive technology that seems to, the only one that seems to have really made significant headway is the Jitterbug phone. And I think that, and as I understand it, just two reasons, right? One is that they've got big buttons, so it's easier to use, and great customer service. So, so I don't know how you feel about that, but I know the founder a little bit, and they've consistently had really good numbers because of those two things. What else besides Alexa?
Okay, and I love the Jitterbug, by the way, and I will recommend it to my clients over and over and over again. If you like a flip phone, stick with your flip phone and just improve upon the technology in the existing flip phone that you have. And Jitterbug has done just that. They've made the buttons bigger, like you said. It even has a magnifier. It has a flashlight in it. It's got a pretty good camera. And you can call OnStar, I think, to come out and help you if something has happened. And it has Alexa built into it. So it's definitely an improvement over your basic flip phone.
Great. So Chad, that's actually a great question of how do you connect about being a future speaker. Reach out to Abbie, or you can reach out to Mike. You can reach out to Abbie. Do you want to give us your email address here?
Yeah, my email address is Abbie, ABBIE, at seniorsavvy.net. But you can also DM me the old-fashioned way. I'm on LinkedIn regularly. I'll see your message and I'll get right back to you.
Yep. Or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and I'll get you connected. So lots of ways to do that. And so one of the things I hear from operators, and I know you tend to do a lot of consumer facing things, but one of the things that I'm hoping that you and we will get to explore here is the integration problem. I was talking to a CEO a couple of weeks ago who's a good friend of mine, and she was saying, there are two things about technology that really that she really struggles with as an organization, and I frankly I hear this a lot. And the first is that there are all these great platforms and technologies that are out there, and they don't talk to each other. And the second is they're just expensive. And so I don't know if you have thoughts on how you fix that problem, or is it just time?
I think demoing is usually the best thing that you can do. And if the demo works with the way you are processing information, and if the terminology and the trajectory from one place to another goes with your mindset, if you can get behind it, then you can explain it. But if there's something within the trajectory that does not make sense to you, lean into it, see if you can figure it out. If not, then I would recommend moving on.
Okay, so let's actually talk about I think this is actually really important. I see an opportunity with a piece of technology, and how do I go about exploring it, and how do I make the decision of what to pick and what to pass on?
I'm going to try to streamline this in a more everyday example. So
Perfect.
When I'm trying out a new app, okay, like maybe there's a new fitness app, I want to try it out. And typically what I do, especially if I am on the fence about trying one over the other, is I will download 3 of them, 3 that have been well reviewed, and I will read the reviews. I'll see how many stars it has. And often then, while I'm reading the reviews, I can tell whether or not it's going to work for me. And so I think customer testimonials, other people that you can talk to who are also using this technology that you admire, you respect, you know that their setup is similar to yours or their needs, that's going to be a great way for you to find out if it's going to work for you. So after I read the reviews, if I decide it's a go, I will download a trial version. I usually do 3 of them at once. I want to try them out. And again, like I mentioned just a little while ago, if the process makes sense to me, if it inherently just clicks and clicks and I can do this and I can do that, then it's a go. If there are stopping points where I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? Why do I have to give this much information? Then I usually stop and move on to the next one.
And so let's do a little personal disclosure here, Abbie.
Okay.
What apps do you like?
Oh, I love this question. I love this question. So I will tell you what I happen to think is one of the most revolutionary app out there is the Genius Scan. Have you used that?
No idea.
No idea. Okay. So many of us are tethered to our printers to do scanning for us, right? I know probably 98% of my clients are buying a printer with a scanner so they can scan documents to their accountant or to their doctor. You don't have to do that anymore. With the Genius Scan app, you simply take a picture of the document from your phone and it makes it into a PDF, which you can then email. And you can do 20 pages and batch them all and send them off. So I have to say that is an awesome app to use, and it's free.
That is cool.
And I want to throw this back at you. Tell me, what is one of your favorite apps?
What is my favorite app? So I'm a very pedestrian user. I for a long time I hated text messaging. And now I use it all the time and it embarrasses me. I have some friends who used to text message me and they write me these long paragraphs and I'd say, stop it, pick up the phone and call me. And, but I find that I use it more and more. But the other thing I would say that I use a lot and I don't see a lot of other people using, and I don't know that you exactly call it an app, but I love the Google app. So the only time I use Word anymore is when somebody sends me something, but I don't use it at all. It's just too hard to share things. We use Google Sheets. The truth of the matter is Google Sheets is not as good as Excel. There's no question about it, but for what most of us do, Google Sheets is better. I'm working on a data project right now that I'm really, really excited about. I can hardly wait. I think we'll be able to reveal it, I'm hoping, in the next 2 weeks. And some of the work is being done by some experts in India. And I've got the spreadsheet. I send them a link and they can have access to it and go to work on this data to be able to manipulate it. And then what else do I use? I use my camera, but I'm actually not very happy with it. I'm thinking I'm about ready to go buy a Samsung phone, and I don't know why, but the camera doesn't take as good pictures as I would like.
Oh, I think it takes amazing pictures. So I know a lot of people would say that the screen resolution is much better on a Samsung device than it is on an iPhone. But hey, they're improving the technology all the time. And yeah.
Yeah, mine's about 3 years old, and otherwise it works fine. And then I will tell you the other thing, that when I bought my Samsung phone, this is sort of a weird curiosity. I got one with a stylus, right? And the only reason I got the stylus is because when I'm taking selfies, it's got a remote, and so I can take a picture easier. What else do I use? Let's talk a little bit more about voice. I don't feel like I use voice and voice typing nearly enough.
Yeah, I think it is highly underrated. So voice typing or dictation is available in every app, including text messages. So you can send those whole essays to people and dictate them. Yep. So one thing I really love about voice is when I'm driving, I like to dictate notes to my voice app all the time. So lists, notes, even things I want to write about. And so it's really handy for me just to do a brain dump and get it all out while I'm in the car, while it's just recording everything that I'm saying. And then when I sit down, I'm able to edit it. But one thing I wanted to say, and I know you talked earlier about the Google apps, which I love, and I think that they're so great for the way that we're using them, is the Google Lens. Have you ever used the Google Lens before?
No idea what that is.
So now that you know what it is, you'll start seeing it because it looks like a camera frame in
Okay.
the Google app. Okay. And so what you can do with Google Lens is you can point your camera at something, whether it's a plant, whether it's a boat, whether it's even a pair of sneakers, and it will then tell you the name of it and where you can purchase this within a 10-mile radius.
So this almost sounds a little bit creepy. So here's my question. I'm going to actually try this.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let you do it live on this. But here's what I want to know is, will it recognize you if I pointed at you on here?
It may.
Where's the lens on my
on your screen? Yeah, it should be. If you do a Google search, it should show up in the far right of the search bar.
Well, we're on live TV, so I won't do it. But I'm curious about that now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely try it the next time you're out and you want to know the name of something, but you don't want to ask. It happened to me. I was at Trader Joe's and the person in front of me was wearing a pair of sneakers that I liked, and I sometimes quite introverted, don't really want to make conversation with people, and I just angled my Google Lens at her shoes and it told me where I could purchase them and the name of the particular brand. So really cool.
Here's how I want to use it when I go to conferences and I run into you and I can't remember your name. I want to be able to just point it at you and have it tell me who you are so I can go, "Oh, Abbie, how nice to see you." Oh, that probably doesn't quite work that way yet.
Who knows? You'll have to try it and see.
I'll have to try it and see.
Right.
So, do you know who you're talking to next week?
I do. I am talking to the folks from Quilt next week.
And I saw Freddie on here earlier, so I'm really excited about that. I do want to say to those of you who have offered condolences in the comments, I really do appreciate that. What else should we be talking about here?
We should be talking about age tech and what's happening in age tech.
So what do you think the future is going to be?
Well, I'm not sure what the future will be, but I know that education has got to be a cornerstone of the future.
Expand on that.
So many of our modern devices are just handed to us without a manual, without a formal introduction. And this is a gripe that a lot of my clients have. And they're just given things and there's no real manual or instructions to go back on and to ask questions. And when they don't have that, they don't know what to do with it. So many of them still have an iPad in a box that's already shrink wrapped and they've never opened it, or 3 or 4 different digital assistants collecting dust on their mantle because they don't know how to use it. So when they have a basic understanding and knowledge of how to turn it on, how to turn it off, what does this button do, then they're empowered to continue to use it and to educate themselves.
So I love that. I think that's the usability is such an important part of the conversation, and I think it doesn't get talked about enough. And I think that's true for the B2B apps as well. I'll tell you one of the, just to give you an example in the business world is I have looked at probably a dozen card scanner programs, and I can't find a single one I like. And it seems like it's such a basic. You know what I want to do? I want to, in case somebody's out there who's a technology person, I want a card scan app that I can scan a card and then I can voice dictate a few notes on it, and then I can upload that into my CRM. It doesn't seem like it should be that complex. Maybe you have something that I don't know about, but
yeah, we would love to hear about that.
We would. Anything else we should be talking about age tech today?
What the future holds. I'm always interested in knowing more about what other people are doing. I'm fascinated with it. And and other people here today also know that when there's something that piques my interest, I will go after it. And I think that it's one of the reasons that we connected here on LinkedIn was just from having so many different conversations about this technology or that technology, or what do you think about this? And, just there is a whole industry that is coming and is developing on age tech. So it's fascinating to me, and I can't wait to see where it leads us.
So, Abbie, I'm so excited about you doing this show. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
We are going to learn from experts. Operators are using technology, people who have technologies that can help operators serve residents and teams better. We know that technology is a big part of creating better resident experiences, better team experiences, and as much as we've seen growth in the industry, so far there's so much opportunity still out there. And for those of you I'm seeing in the chat, a lot of people who I know are technology people, and that's really exciting. There's so much opportunity out there still to create amazing things and ultimately though, it's all about the people, right? It's all about giving people better life experiences. So any last words?
I'm really excited about this, and I'm thrilled and honored that you came up with this idea. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to give one piece of credit because this was actually Farrah McLaughlin's, our chief revenue officer's idea. She came up, how about Tech Tuesday with Abbie? And so I want to give credit where credit is due, and we are really excited about that. And, if you have something, let's talk a little bit about some guests that I think we would like to see. We're, of course, always interested in new technologies that are out there that are solving problems. And we're particularly interested in those of you who are senior living owners and operators and hearing about both your successes and your frustrations. And it would be really interesting to do. This might be an interesting thing. We could get like 20 operators to come on and each take a minute and just talk about the things they wish technology did better. So,
yeah, I'm also interested in hearing about how you adapted in the past year and a half in ways that you never expected to. How did you make that pivot?
Yeah.
What have you found out? And where do you see it going? So, I like to hear people's stories and to hear how it's impacting people's lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, because that's what it's all about. So, Abbie, congratulations on doing this. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the comments this has been terrific. And Abbie will be back next week and I won't.
Yep.
So, but I do get to see you in person next week. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
So,
right on. Right on.
Anyway, thank you very much. And with that, we're going to sign out.
Okay.
And you need to hit the stop broadcast button.